Hey friends, I'm Stacy and this is Gorgeously Aging, and today I wanted to share with you all the places that I get Botox as a 53-year-old master and medical esthetician. Like so many people, my Botox journey started years ago, and I started treating just the forehead and the procerus and corrugators to treat the 11s, which I really don't get. So when I treated that area, it was more for preventative treatment. At that time, I had pretty etched in forehead lines. I have a very big forehead or frontalis muscle. This is an elevating muscle that pulls the brows up, and this can give us some etched in horizontal lines across the forehead. This was my first area of concern in my early 30s, and the very first place that I started treating with tox. Of course, back then I had major budgetary restrictions, so I had to really treat it conservatively. And at that time in my aging process, that worked out just fine. Back then, I was treating with Botox maybe once a year, and then gradually it went up to twice a year. And now at 53, almost 54 years old, I treat 4 times a year or every 3 months. Now, the places on my face and neck that I do get Botox has changed throughout the years. And this is very normal as I've aged and as my concerns have changed. There is so much that can be done with Botox treatments. So let's talk about all the places on my face that I treat with Botox and how it's been helpful in my aging journey. So as I mentioned, I treat my forehead. This is an elevating muscle that pulls the brows up. If you want a more comprehensive mapping of where I treat, you can find that more advanced facial rejuvenation at rumble.com/gorgeouslyaging or gorgeouslyaging.com. For today, it's going to be more of an overview just to give you some ideas on how you might want to change your Botox or allocate your Botox budget differently based on your needs. So other than my forehead, I treat the procerus and the corrugators, and this will help with those 11s or the frowning, and this can be an area of concern for so many people. For me, I don't have a strong downward pull here, so I treat this very conservatively. I also put a little bit of Botox here and here in this part of the brow, the lateral part of the brow underneath. This muscle is called the orbicularis oculi. It's a sphincter muscle that squeezes down, and when you relax it a little bit, it prevents the brow from being pulled down and allows the tail of this brow to come up a little bit. So treating underneath the eyebrow in the orbicularis oculi helps the brow to lift just a little bit, giving a brow lift. The same muscle, the orbicularis oculi, is where we treat for crow's feet, right around here. And by relaxing that, we prevent that squinching of the orbicularis oculi around the eye, and this helps to smooth the crow's feet. The same is true underneath the eye. A few points underneath the eye help with some of that creasing underneath the eye. I treat on both sides, and that is kind of in a semicircle configuration around the orbicularis oculi that squeezes down tight. By relaxing that with botulinum toxin, it smooths out those crow's feet wrinkles, lifts the lateral brow, and helps smooth out a little bit under the eye. Now, I also treat conservatively the nasalis. The nasalis muscle is a thin muscle over the nose, and it's responsible for the bunny lines. So I'm kind of midway or towards the tail end of my Botox. You can see that I can pull this here, but it's very smooth. I don't have any etched in lines. And by treating shallow on both sides of the nasalis, you can prevent those bunny lines or smooth out those bunny lines. I personally also do a lip flip, just a few units on each side of the upper lip. This will help make a fuller upper lip. Sometimes as we age, the lips start to shrivel, get a little smaller, and the muscle around the mouth is very much the same as the muscle around the eye. It's a circular muscle called the orbicularis oris. This muscle is a sphincter, and it squeezes down, allows us to pucker, drink through a straw, and by relaxing that, this relaxes that upper lip and makes a big difference, and also can help smooth any lines that you may have from drinking through a straw, often called smoker's lines. Now, one of the areas that people overlook is the chin. This is called the mentalis. And as people age, sometimes that mentalis kind of comes upward and begins to dimple. So by relaxing the mentalis, you ease that cobblestone chin or dimpling of the chin, but also elongate the jawline. So instead of it being pulled up, it relaxes, and this will help with jowling to some degree. I'm going to talk just a minute about more strategies with Botox to help with jowling. But this is something I treat in two places, here and here. And this really does make a difference. I don't necessarily do it every single time I do a tox treatment because for me, the mentalis is not a really strong muscle. This is where it has to be customized from one person to the next. Where some areas on my face and neck may be stronger, it may be an area on someone else that's weaker. So it is about customization. I also treat along the jawline, right through here in about 4 places. And this helps to relax the upper part of the platysma muscle, which is a downward pulling muscle. And by relaxing that, it helps to sharpen the jawline. If you're starting to notice jowling, this is a really nice beneficial area to treat with botulinum toxin. This platysma muscle that starts here at the jaw, starts at the mandible and comes all the way down to the clavicle. This is a thin sheet of muscle, and by treating this, not only on the platysmal bands, but throughout that muscle, this will help the neck. By softening that downward pull on the neck, we're also helping the jawline. When the platysma pulls down, it can make the jawline look kind of wavy, it can accentuate the jowls, and so treating the neck not only improves the neck, but it improves the jawline. Speaking of the jawline, if you're somebody in your younger years that would get masseter Botox, this is an area to treat that helps with facial slimming, and it's a beneficial treatment, especially for somebody who has pain in their jaw or a really wide jawline and they want to have more facial slimming. But as we age, if you treat the masseter muscle, this will actually make the jowls look worse. So do think about that as you age, because as that masseter deflates and the muscle is relaxed, it's going to cause the lower part of the jawline to show more signs of aging. I never treat my masseter muscle. I want my masseter muscle to be strong to help pull the jawline. The volume in the masseter is important as we age. Of course, if you have pain, that's a different story. So it is a personal decision. But do expect that if you relax the masseter and it loses volume because it is a very strong muscle, that you will see that in the lower part of your jaw. Future Stacy here to come back because I missed a very important treatment area when I was making this video. I also treat the DAO muscles. This is the depressor angularis oris. This runs from the corner of the mouth, kind of at a slight angle, down to the base of the jaw, where the platysma starts. As we age, you'll notice many aging people that have a very pronounced downward pull of the corners of their mouth. Almost like a frown. I call it fish face because it looks a little bit like a fish. By relaxing the DAO muscle, it lifts the corners of the mouth. This also has a beneficial effect on jowls as well. This is a very important treatment area and one that so many people don't know about or have not been told about. Definitely an area to talk to your provider about if you're starting to notice more jowling or a downward pull at the corners of the mouth. There are so many other places than what I have mentioned, the base of the nose, the sides of the nose for nasal flare, but this is where I'm treating as a 53-year-old, almost 54-year-old master and medical esthetician. Now, it's a lot of units. I use 140 to 200 units of botulinum toxin every 3 months, especially if I do a really comprehensive neck treatment, and that can add up to a lot of money in treatment. So you really have to pick and choose and talk to your provider about which areas are your focus. And if you are curious about my advanced facial rejuvenation, I go into detail. I talk about ways to save money doing facial rejuvenation and so many treatments that are safe and effective at home. Again, you can find those videos by going to gorgeouslyaging.com. So many people kind of get into a routine of having the same Botox done every single time they visit their practitioner. So definitely don't be afraid to have that conversation and change things up. If you're doing a lot of Botox in your forehead and you're getting too close to the brows can drop. This can cause the upper eyelids to have more hooding if you are already experiencing some hooding. So there are some changes that are beneficial to keep those brows raised and to treat other parts of the face that may have a more profound effect as you age. Thank you so much for sharing a piece of your day with me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please join the Gorgeously Aging community by subscribing to my channel. And again, you can find my advanced facial rejuvenation at gorgeouslyaging.com, and you can find me on all other socials by just searching at Gorgeously Aging. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you in my next video.